All Around the Circle is a collection of poems I wrote about my home in Newfoundland and the animals and people who live there. All Around the Circle, written by Cara Kansala, that's me. Art by Cara Kansala and Max Dory, published by Breakwater Books. The Petty Harbor Cow. There was a cow that couldn't moo, but she could sing and sneeze, "Achoo!" She couldn't moo, but she could burp and cackle, buzz and gasp and slurp. She couldn't moo, but she could jabber, mumble, murmur, shriek and blabber, sigh and slobber, sniff and snore. She'd take a nap and then snore some more. Sigh and weep and whine and whimper, whisper, mutter, munch and simper, laughed until her tum was sore, then tried to moo and laughed some more. She'd try to moo, but only mead. And then she'd laugh until she peed. That Petty Harbor cow she tried to moo until the day she died, and just before her timely death she opened wide and took a breath and mooed the loudest moo she could, and smiled and thought that life was good. Itchy's Moon Song. On autumn nights at summer's edge, sweet Itchy'd watch the stars. She'd search for moonbeams, listening close for night songs from afar. On her whiskers dragonflies would waltz and play their tunes, and like a harp they'd pluck her strings, while Itchy swayed and swooned. And in her dreams the poppies bloomed and turned forever red, and Itchy'd cuddle in their warmth a cuddly poppy bed. She'd dream of friends she'd loved and lost. She dreamed of loves that stayed, and sing her moon songs while she purred until the dawn of day. While Uncle Jack was jigging. While Uncle Jack was jigging, Aunt Mary baked a pie. Old Tomcat watched the capelin roll and Agnes hung the line. While Uncle Jack was jigging, the sheep grazed down the lane. The salt meat boiled, the ocean roiled, the chicks pecked at the grain. While Uncle Jack was jigging, old Bertha mended vamps. The crows came calling 2 by 2, and Poppy trimmed the lamps. While Uncle Jack was jigging, the table it was laid. Nan put out her best blue vase, and Cousin Tommy played. While Uncle Jack was jigging, old Pete chewed on his bone, and Doris paced around the house until her Jack came home. The Worried Chicken. Heloise the chicken always worried about the rain, about thunderstorms and creaky doors, about falling in the grain, about winter chills and bucket spells, about the night and day, about allergies and too much sun, about sneezing in the hay. Achoo! She worried if the rooster cock-a-doodle-dooed too loud. She worried while she slept, and also worried in a crowd. She worried that her feathers weren't as white as they could be. About ticks and lice and mice and ants and bugs and snakes and fleas. She worried that she worried not enough and too much too. She worried that the sky was sometimes not the brightest blue. She worried that a ladybird might land upon her feathers and that it might decide to stay in any kind of weather. So tiny was the ladybird that landed on the chicken, and if she knew, oh, Heloise, she surely would be stricken. The tiny bug she slept with not a worry, click, or clue, and Heloise the chicken started worrying enough for two. Nan and Poppies. Nan, she loved poppies, and Poppy loved Nan, so he planted them when they first wed. Nan, she loved Poppy, and planted the seeds in her garden to keep her love fed. He worked on a trawler, she scrubbed all the floors. He split all the wood, and she scrubbed them some more. He mended the nets, and she knitted the socks. She worked splitting fish, and he worked on the docks. And when they got older, he cared for her still. He brought her the tea, let it cool on the sill. He rubbed her old shoulders and brushed her gray hair. He warmed up the broth, and he fed her with care. And when they got older, she cared for him still. She put on his slippers and brought him his pills. She rubbed his old fingers and smoothed out his hair. She sang him old love songs. He rocked in his chair. And now there is silence. The house it stands still. The curtains have faded. There's dust on the sill. But the flowers still bloom and the poppies still stand, because Nan, she loved poppies, and Poppy loved Nan. This is a picture of me painting in my studio. I love goats and cats and dogs and chickens and often add them to my paintings. I once had an orange cat named Papa Luigi, and he's in most of the paintings I do. Sometimes he's hiding and you have to find him.